on, we can load it onto YouTube. And because we are
Okay.
being recorded live, and we are live on Facebook and indeed in this Zoom room, we always have to warn Andrew Hesford, Lord Hesford of Halewood. He's only allowed one expletive in the whole show, and he uses it now to get it out the way and cause embarrassment later.
Boom.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the best he can do.
That's
No, the
shocking.
very first week we did this about a year and a half ago, he did accidentally use a slightly stronger word than that, didn't you? I think it was you. Certainly
Oh
someone
yeah.
did. Someone did one week, yeah. And
That's
you have to
years
do
of reading
the
Viz.
grovel and apology, of being on air before 9 o'clock at night. So the good news is, folks, those of you that are joining us on Facebook now or later, or on YouTube later, is we're here tonight to talk about the free festival of words and music, which is this Saturday, the 30th of April, from about 3 o'clock. Come a bit earlier and settle down, find a nice comfy seat, and pop to the bar, get a cup of tea or a coffee or a gin, because they do nice gin. And from 3 o'clock, we have got a wonderfully eclectic range of poets and performers, some in costumes, some as themselves, some people singing, some people in duos. Then we've got a punk band on called The Dregs. And then we've got this super group called Andrew Hesford's Etc., featuring Kasuki
Oh, it's
Mikami.
etc.
It's Etc. Yes. Yeah, well, Andy,
Yes.
Andy plays in several bands, and I said, "Oh, who are you with tonight?" Etc., etc. So we coined this phrase, etc., for Andy to use if he plays on his own with anybody, really. But it's coming together nicely, etc., Andy, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the only thing is, of course, is it's like any rehearsal. You're finding common ground, and then once you found common ground, trying to boil it until you've reduced it slightly. And reduction isn't always about people. It's about the fact that maybe a song that seemed ambitious in week one appears to be maybe something that you shouldn't carry forward to a performance. It needs more time to be made ready. And often the common ground is what we all like. And I like contrasting things. I mean, I'd love to get a couple of people in playing, say, a trumpet and a saxophone or whatever. But you get to the point where you think, it's not blood, sweat, and tears or Chicago, is it? You know, I know the difference between one song and 25 or 6-4.
Yeah.
And I think if you get to the point where you overcomplicate it, you ended up trying to accommodate a lot of different approaches, and you'll get the horn section saying, "I know you're playing it in D minor, but we need to take this note," and then you've got the problem in that some people would actually work to music on the stave, and meanwhile, like a lot of musicians, they can read chords, they can go by that. But if you ask me to read it off a stave, I would probably end up doing it in march rhythm because I wouldn't know all the intervals and the various nomenclature and
Hmm.
things were.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing about people who can learn a song and play a song, or who can generate the raw essence of the notes and the quavers and the semi-quavers on a piece of paper, so other people can play it. I mean, so when you write a song, you come up with the lyrics, then you go, oh, let's do C, E, A, G, or whatever the chords might be, and you just put chords together that suit your lyrics, or do you actually write the music before the lyrics? That's what I've always wanted to ask.
I sometimes write the lyrics first
Mm,
and then play something. I suppose the old Paul McCartney trick of play something you can't go wrong on.
mm.
And if you're playing something, be very careful that it doesn't already match something else.
Well, that's
You
another
know,
story we could all go into. I mean, that's the thing. So anyway, listen, folks. This Saturday is the Free Festival of Words and Music, which was an idea Andy had about, well, November really. So he did the first one in January in the cold, in the dark and the cold, and it actually seemed to go okay, didn't it?
yeah. I mean, to be honest, what happened was we did do a lot of the organising for a previous thing. Well, our first big thing that we did was the Philharmonic Dining Rooms, which was in November, and it was fine. There were a few, shall we say,
Well, it was the first week when people
differing
were
points
allowed
of
in a
opinion.
room. It was the first week people were allowed in a room within 3 foot of each other, let alone anything else, wasn't it?
Oh, it was like we were aware that the
We were limited
decisions
to
and the
50 people,
regs were
and
changing.
luckily, we didn't have any more than 50 turn up, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and part of that was the players. But I do know that I had the idea of presenting a lot of people who I feel haven't really had a platform for the talents, but also you need people who are confident performers and who can actually exude an element of je ne sais quoi, I suppose. You know, the idea that someone can be in a room and all of a sudden you're kind of the stardust to sprinkle around and you feel like you've caught some. You know, I mean that sounds
Mm.
like a really strange metaphor for what I'm trying to
Oh
describe.
no,
But
it's not. Not
sometimes,
at all. No, you've got it spot on.
yeah,
I think you've
yeah,
got it spot on. Anyway, you need that.
you do need that. But I mean, what it was Alan came into the equation after he'd helped organise a jam night on Wirral in Wallasey, and Alan and Sam were actually very positive and came up with ideas. Alan's main thing is the technical side, which hadn't really been organised. It was just like plug things in and hope for the best. Where Alan came up with more of a structured approach. And my main approach was, hey, are you playing or not? Which is quite direct, but you can't wait around for people to just say they're going to do it. You've got,
Absolutely not.
and if they're going to do it, they've got to do it, you know. And I actually decided we should do the thing at Murphy's, and a lot of the things at Murphy's went really well. There were a couple of exceptional spoken word performers, and there were quite a few exceptional musicians. And there were some people who were just starting out, but you know, give them a chance, you know. And
Mm.
they've ended up where they've come into the situation where they've gained a little more confidence, and now they're doing other things, and they're occasionally knocking on our door saying, "Can I do that again?" But the need to alternate acts
Mm.
is very important. You've got to do two festivals, not like the other, you know, and then maybe the third one you try a different blend of people, and the fourth one, and so on, which indicates that maybe we're looking at this as a long-term idea. You know,
Regular thing,
Sam's looking very
regular thing.
doubtfully at Alan there.
A regular thing, a regular thing. Anyway, folks, before we introduce our special guest of this evening, a young poet called Trash Poetry, Tim Johnson, and he's smiling because he's a lovely chap. We got to meet him a few weeks ago, actually, and you've been staring up quite a storm over. Is it Wrexham, Tim? Is that your neck of the woods? Is it Wrexham?
Yeah, Wrexham and Chester. I mean, I
Yeah,
got invited to read in Wrexham for the first time in November, having done the writing for a little while.
yeah,
But at that point, the speaking was new. But it's been very regular since then because
yeah.
Wrexham's got a
Well,
really thriving scene.
am I right in thinking that you used to live in Japan?
I did for a
Did
year.
did you
Yeah,
teach in Japan? Was that roughly the
yeah,
thing?
yeah. I was an
Yeah.
English language teacher. It turned out to be very useful because it turned out projecting my voice would come in handy
So
down the line.
can you speak any Japanese, Tim?
About 20 words, you
Okay,
know.
well that's 20 more words than the rest of us put together. See,
Absolutely.
Kasuki, who's playing guitar with etc. on Saturday, he can speak great English. His English is fine, but even if you can just say hello, how are you to him in Japanese, he'll love it. So when you come along on Saturday. We'll send you to the bar to get him a cup of coffee. White one sugar, just so you know. And we'll have a tab, don't worry. You won't have, white one sugar for Kasuki. And you'll be able to come over and say, here you are, Kasuki. I hope you like this coffee or whatever you can manage. And he will love the fact you can say anything in Japanese, won't he? Because
Uh,
he's such a lovely chap. He really
I'm
is.
I'm not sure if he'll love the pronunciation of it as much, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
just do that shot. That's all you can do.
Yeah, well, even if you can say hello, please, and thank you, that's a start, isn't it? So,
Yeah, I can
folks who
manage
are,
that.
who are going to watch us now and join us later, Tim is one of the performance poets who's joining us on Saturday. We've also got a chap who came last time. I think he's sort of the only act from last time who's coming back, isn't he? Saint Vespulis, if that's how you pronounce it. Stephen Porter to his mum and to you and me. But he was phenomenally funny, wasn't he? He's very Liverpool, Tim. very Liverpool. So he did most of his poetry in Liverpool accent, which works. If you, it's like Davy Edge, who was on last time, again, can do poems in Liverpool accent. And there is something about using your accent to deliver your story or your poem or your song for that matter. Cilla Black got away with it for years, I do believe. I'm sure she wouldn't have been as popular if she didn't sing in Scouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it
And
has
see,
to be the right accent.
what was that, Zoe?
It has to be in the right accent, or
It
it
does.
sounds like vague.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. So I'm going to play us a bit of Kasuki because I gave him a lift home from rehearsals on Saturday, and I put him on the spot and said, if we were going to put you on stage to play just one song that you love, that you can play brilliantly because he's brilliant, what song would it be? And he stared at me and he went, oh, I said, well, would it be a Jimi Hendrix song? He goes, yes, I love Jimi Hendrix. I said, so, I know you can play, the ones I've heard you play. And I've seen one of your YouTube videos of a song you've written called Beyond New York, which sounds a lot like Crosstown Traffic, basically. Great piece of music. And he said, oh, the one I would play is Purple Haze. So for those of us watching here and for those of us watching elsewhere, this is the very lovely Kasuki. And this is him playing his version of Purple Haze. Now, I hope you're all going to enjoy this because I think he's amazing. I mean, look at this. He's got a left-handed guitar he plays upside down because Hendrix played a right-handed guitar upside down. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? Anyway, Andy and Alan can both play the guitar, so they will tell us at the end of this 2 minutes how good he is, because I know both of them are pretty decent guitar players. I've been in the room with them several times, and they're both very good. So let's have a watch and a listen to this. Oh, hold on, silly me. Did I hit that? We have this silly thing in Zoom when you share the screen. Hold on. Being a dimbo, you have to hit the share sound button and the optimize for video button. Oh, and then here we go. Let us now treat ourselves and anyone now or later. Kasuki is going to be playing live with etc. on, I think, about 7 or 8 tracks, 2 Jimi Hendrix tracks to end the night. He's not doing this one unless we leave him on his own after we all bow out. Just see what you make of this. He's pretty good, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Well,
Hold
put it
on one
this way.
sec. Hold on. It's the only problem with YouTube if you don't press the buttons in the right order. So that is Kazuki Mikami, Mikami, Kazuki Mikami. If you are on YouTube, go and follow him. He does these lovely walkarounds of places he goes. Obviously, he's from Japan. He's studying music at Liverpool University. He's the sweetest guy. He's lovely. He's come along to jam nights that Alan and Andy go to on. We're all, we when we were Alan and Andy and I were talking about this little festival at the weekend. You try to think of someone that is a bit different. That there's some great singers, there's some great poets. All of that's brilliant. You just sort of want someone who's a little bit different. And I said to Alan and Andy, Kazuki's great, but would you want to watch him just for 20 minutes play guitar? You would, because he's brilliant. But you'd sort of want him with someone singing maybe, and a bit of drum and bass, and other stuff going on. So Alan and Andy kindly agreed to put some songs together that could be played with Kazuki. And we've got a great set lined up for everybody. We shouldn't really tell you too much about it because it's nice to be excited on the night by what people do. But Sam's taken lead vocals on a couple of tracks. Sam and Twee are singing very, very clever dual harmonies on a few tracks. Andy and Alan are doing a bit of singing. We've got a fantastic drummer called Steve Brick, who's as solid as a brick, basically. He keeps the beat rather marvelously. But Kazuki's going to be playing all sorts of guitar stuff. Also, we must say he'll probably join us shortly. Dave Holden, another friend of Andy and Alan's, and mine, of course, is another great guitarist. And he's sort of come in and he's playing a thing called the Ebo, which is like a little electronic device that you move up and down the strings rather than your fingers, and it creates a bit of like an echoey sort of sound. U2 played it, and Heroes, David Bowie. Think of that. That was an Echoplex, but it's a very, very similar type of thing. So we've got a great show for you on Saturday. Murphy's Bar is on Regent Road, which I call the Dock Road. If you know where Costco is, it's about a block along from Costco, heading away from Liverpool towards Bootle. Next door to 10th Street Social, just past the thing called the Invisible Wind Farm Factory. Something like that.
Invisible Wind Factory.
Yeah, the Invisible Wind Factory Farm.
And adjacent to the other corner where Pirate Studios is.
Yeah. But so we're going to have a great time. Murphy's Bar is run by a family called the Murphy Brothers, who turns out all went to the school I now work in. So I'm a school librarian and reading tutor at Allsop High in Walton. And by weird coincidence, it turns out that the three brothers who run the place are all ex-pupils of the school I'm at. So we're hoping a few of the other staff might come down and, beg for a half-price pint of Guinness or whatever you do when you're an old pupil. But the other thing that I genuinely wanted to add to the festivals that we've already done, because it's very easy to find people who can sing and play an instrument, put them on stage. That's all great. And I said to Andy, let alone Alan, I think we should have some poetry. I think poetry deserves to be seen and heard, and it can be just as good as a song. I mean, it's lyrics without necessarily music. Although I know some poets who actually have a bit of music when they perform. So Tim can tell us if that's his sort of thing in a minute. But one of the people that was suggested through Alan and Sam up there was this young chap. He's only about 14. He's grown a beard at an early age, and he's called Tim Johnson. And he's been, as he's going to tell us in a second, he took up poetry probably only about 2 years ago. Is that right, Tim? Yeah. Go on, unmute yourself, young sir. About you only started writing about 2 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I started writing it. I mean, I'd written one in 2019, which I think is the first time I ever seriously gave a go at writing anything, and it wasn't any intention of doing poetry. And then I started writing them. It would have been August 2020, and it was in Tokyo when everything was going a bit wrong, but I had to commute for so many hours each day on these trains, and the trains are amazing, to be fair, but you can very rarely get a seat. Even during the pandemic, the legendary stories of Tokyo trains are completely accurate. You are usually packed in like sardines. So anytime I could get a seat became an opportunity to very quickly, I mean, it's a great challenge for you if you want to try and write poetry quickly, because as you know, probably if you've written any yourself, you get a thought, and if you allow it to drift off, it's gone, then you're not going
Oh
to get it
yes,
back.
the old adage of always have something to write or record on. Do you record into your phone and then work on it from that, or are you a pen and paper guy?
Well, I don't know if I can even call it pen on paper. It was literally just a Samsung Notes app on my phone, and it was just, it would occur to me. And it's only very recently I've come around to the spoken side of it at all. You know, everyone's got to get used to their own voice, the whole kind of listening back to your own voicemail syndrome type thing. So it was just written down really quickly, but it would flow very, very fast, and it kind of fell into a method.
Yeah. And I mean, also though, you managed to get a book published in lockdown, basically, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I'd collated all of the poems. There were a lot of them from August through to the new year into 2022. No, 2021, I beg your pardon. So just the 4 months of 2020's poetry was put into a book that I published last year through a little indie publisher run by some guys I know, and they've done a cracking job of it as well.
Well, you've worked with a quality photographer. I mean, the picture above my head doesn't do justice to what his photography is like, but you're below the little guitar type icon above my head, and that's you with a misty backdrop and some trees off to one side. It's a lovely photo, the real photo. So who's your friend who's put the images to your words?
Oh, an amazing guy, a guy called James Biggleston. And James is a vet who lives out in North Wales. I don't really know him as a vet. I know him as a photographer.
Yeah.
And he's got a really brilliant method. He plays around with all sorts of like very obscure vintage cameras that he kind of collects, and they've all got character and they're all unpredictable. He loves taking whatever shots he can get and then seeing what the camera does with it. I mean, he's very selective with what he photographs, but by the time it comes back to him and he can either develop it or edit it, it's always a surprise for him as well.
Yeah, yeah. So you've worked together and you've already sold out once, so you've got more copies. Have you got copies available? Are you going to have some copies with you on Saturday?
Well, I don't know if it will be for Saturday. I will have very soon. Unfortunately, each time we do this, it's quite a long process to get them out in print, and we're only doing small runs. But it's a really
you have to when it's a small indie print run. And let's be honest, no matter how good poetry is, it's not something unless you hammers that flies off the bestseller shelves, is it really?
No.
But so if you bring some A5 flyers with yourself on Saturday, with your Facebook and any other social platforms on, and in brackets, book available to be ordered. You know, at least anyone who's there who does meet you and listens to you, and you know, at least they can come along afterwards, because I think sometimes people will respond. You know, so and you're working on a new collection. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a collection which wasn't the same amount in the short time frame that I wrote in 2020, but 2021 to 22 has its own anthology, so that will be making an appearance in the later stages of this year. I'm in the process of I've got a few amazing photographers to pick from who I would quite like to get the work out there for and give it a home. So I will be in touch with them to see who wants to.
When you're along on Saturday, there's a friend of ours coming along called Ali Harwood, who performed last time, didn't he, Andy?
Yeah, I've invited him and I've suggested he might like to meet you.
I was going to say, he runs I don't know if it's weekly, but certainly monthly poetry night in Liverpool called Live Bards. And they get a good turnout. They get visiting poets, you know, from anywhere really. So he's a good person to get to know, Ali. And obviously, you'd be hugely most welcome, you know, when travelling's easy enough, to come up to Hightown, where my friend Sally Ann and I run a monthly poetry gathering. We had Davy Edge last Thursday, and we had about 25, 26 people. In fact, we would have had more, as is often the case. You publish the date, and everyone goes, "Great! Oh, I'm away that day," or "I'm busy that day." But we had about 26, 27 people for Davy, and it was a fabulous evening. So, when travel allows, it's the third Thursday of the month, and Hightown is right on the Merseyrail travel link. You come out to Hightown station, you walk sort of into the village, which isn't mega big. Church Hall is on the right, and in you come, and we have a great time. We've got a good variety of local poets who come along every month, and then we always have a guest artist, either a singer-songwriter or a poet. So Sally Ann and her husband will be along on Saturday. Come over, have a cup of tea with them, and say, right, Sally Ann, May, June, July, whichever, or August, whenever's good, when your book's out, get yourself booked in. And I'm sure people who are with us tonight and other friends who will see this later on, they'll be along. So, would love that to happen. But I think we're going to do this horribly nasty thing to you now, which is called put you on spotlight, which means you're the only person we're seeing. There you are. You can look at yourself. Look at that. It's horrible.
What a privilege for me.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
great
It's horrible.
feeling.
It's horrible, isn't it? Can't be helped. But it would be lovely, and I hope you don't mind, if you would share. Well, do a poetry piece for us now, and then we'll play a bit of music by Andy or Alan, and Paul, my friend up there, might read something, and then we'll come back to you, and you can do another piece and have another chat. Then you've picked a bit of music that you want us to hear. You want us to all have a happy evening out, don't you? With like party time. You can tell us about that in a few minutes' time. So, is this one of you sometimes have a little towards the political leanings with your poetry, I think you were saying.
Often. In this
Yeah.
case, I just wanted to choose. I think you mentioned like 3 different pieces to me tonight. If I had them.
You can do 3 pieces. Yeah, please do.
So,
We'll do
so
one
what
now, and then we'll come back in a few minutes. Yeah,
we'll stagger them a little. So I just chose 3 of them that have kind of a shared theme. So these are some of the lockdown poems that were inspired, from early last year when we thought we were going to come out of this whole business, and then obviously we didn't, and it kind of dipped back in, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first of them, and they all kind of generally follow a mood and a theme.
Yeah.
So the first one I'd like to read for you, and I do have a bit of a cold at the moment, so it's going to be even more monotone and the rest than usual, but here it comes. So this one is called In the Moment, right? The day will soon be breezed away through past times and by slow decay. The future, once hopeful, is now full of fear, a window rendered so unclear that hardly anyone has any idea what will come to pass when observed through the fog of that grim looking glass. But while prospects are looking slim and the light at the end of the tunnel grows dim, withdraw your thoughts much closer in to what, if anything, you'll do before this single day is through, without a thought or care for when another day comes round again.
Excellent. Yeah, now you've got a great voice for it, Tim. Really, really good. Yeah. But you're right, it's a weird thing, isn't it, to stand up and say, I'm going to say something, and what am I going to sound like? It's slightly different than singing. I think I can't sing, so I don't mind trying to sing along with other people. I do occasionally do that, but the thought of being the only person singing in front of anyone, there's no way on earth. And there's only one song I can do, and it's not really a song. It's called Patricia the Stripper by Krista Berg. And no one your age will know it, but Alan and Andy and Sam might know. Paul might know it. But that's the only song I could ever dare do live because it's spoken basically. Yeah. And I'm quite good at it actually. I've done it a few times. Usually when very drunk on when you go to Greece or Spain on holiday and they take you out to one of them parties and they have the karaoke on the coach coming back and everyone does a Beatles song and there's me taking my clothes off to Krista Berg. You have to do the actions, So I mean, things like the political situation and the lockdown obviously triggered a lot of thought for yourself then. I mean, it must have been something that caused you to spend a lot of time thinking, let alone writing.
Well, I'll try not to dig too deeply into it. I think anyone who wants to know the particulars, if they were to read, Dumplings Over Flowers, they get to know me uncomfortably well, to be honest, or at least me at that time. But I definitely found, living abroad has its own range of communication problems. But I felt that during the lockdown, we all kind of forgot how to talk to each other, or at least that was my experience. We spent so much time on Facebook Messenger and Instagram and on the phone that we forgot how to have an actual back and forth conversation.
Yeah.
So for me, the poetry became a kind of outlet that was then lacking in actual human interaction,
Also on Facebook, I mean, you share quite a lot of your poetry on Facebook as well. Trash poetry seems to be what you've called yourself as a bit of a moniker. I mean, are you going to go out and call yourself that, or are you going to go out as Tim Johnson and I write trash? Can you what's the way you're working that?
Trash poetry has kind of become the name that I give to the feed for the poetry, like the news bulletin style social media feed for the poetry. I wasn't really intending to publish my poetry on social media because honestly, I'm probably the kind of really, snobby sort of person that thinks, oh, I don't share my poetry on social media. And then I did. I just, I wanted to put it out there because I didn't know who was going to be receptive to it around me. And I was really surprised by the following that I got. It wasn't just men, it wasn't just women, it wasn't just people my age. It was people of all ages, from all backgrounds, all different lifestyles who followed it and found something to resonate with them. But the reason that they're all the different social media feeds, whether it's YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, it's always trash poetry because the working title for the book before it was Dumplings Over Flowers was Trash Pandas Trash Poetry.
Okay.
Trash Pandas was the name of a WhatsApp chat I had with my friends in Japan.
Okay.
And it just kind of changed just into trash poetry. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I like it. I used to do very short poetry and called it eco poetry because I was saving words for later. So it was all haiku, basically. I mean, and some of it people liked. It's a while since I've done any. Anyway, we must say a very quick hello and welcome to Uncle Brian Gibson, who is with us in the room over there down below.
Tony, I did a terrible thing.
We saw you on Facebook.
No, I don't mean that.
Oh,
I totally forgot about the Zoom tonight.
Right. Well,
How bad is that?
we're not letting you come again on a Monday. This is your last ever Monday, whatever you.
All right, Tony, don't be like that.
No, we're moving to Sundays.
I know.
By popular demand of no, I just thought we'd try Sundays.
I can't make Mondays, Tony. I told you that.
I know. Well, that's why we're moving to Sundays. Anyway, and our lovely friends Jason and Heather are with us. Tim, you went with us a couple of weeks ago, but Heather and Jason have been joining us for a few weeks now, and they'll sing and play something later. But Heather was chatting to me after we'd done the Monday night gathering and said, how would you like me and Jason to do a little special show for you? I said, oh, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, because it's always nice to let other people do all the talking and all that. And it turns out Jason's great granddad, or he'll correct me in a minute if he's there, was one of the first people to travel from England to New Zealand, not to Australia, to New Zealand. And he'd written a book about it in 1841. Heather, is that right? 1841?
Yeah, that's correct. Very good memory you've got here.
1841. And so Heather and Jason got dressed up as, well, roughly as pirates in a way, I suppose. They had a backdrop of a galleon anyway, and they narrated us through this voyage with extracts from the diary and some lovely sea shanties and folk songs. And your daughter joined in. Their daughter, was it 21st that day or the next day, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, we still got the balloons up everywhere, and you can probably still see we've got a ship's mast behind us.
Yeah, we can see it.
That's from the party. Yeah. That's a party prop which hasn't gone yet.
Yeah, but it was a fascinating thing. We had a lot of people watch it on Facebook, on the Facebook Live, because it was such. I mean, some of the language was of the time, isn't it? They've got a very particular way of speaking, Victorian, gentlemen, shall we say? But it took a long time, didn't it? I mean, it was a long voyage, and they got lost. You had a map, Heather, And they went
Yeah,
round
it
in a big
was. It
loop
was.
off
It
the
wasn't so
south
much they
coast of
got lost.
Portugal or something. They got caught in the
The Bay of
squall.
Biscay.
Yeah,
Well, it wasn't so much they got lost as got blown back because it was
yeah,
under sail. This is under sail, so they
yeah,
set off and then they get blown back, and
yeah,
yeah, so that's
yeah.
what it was. But
Anyway, Heather, just so you know, our guest up at the top is a lovely chap called Tim Johnson, who is a poet from North Wales, Wrexham, Chester way, and he's one of our star acts for this coming Saturday's festival. That
whereabouts
you
in
will,
North
you
Wales are you?
Tim.
Originally, I'm from Flintshire, which is like, yeah, the accent, as you can clearly tell, is not happening. There is not a shred of Welsh in there, really. That's audible at least. But the birth certificate says Welsh, which technically qualifies, I guess.
So are you anywhere near Johnstown or Rose at all?
Ross on Sea.
Rose Clanacrewcrook, I can never pronounce it, or Llangollen, are you anywhere near those?
Llangollen, I know a little. Llangollen is more somewhere that I kind of work near. This would be this. I mean, if you know Mulvamai at all, which is the mountain with the Jubilee. Well, I say mountain; it's a big hill. But the name I think means Mother of Mountains. But it's got the Jubilee Tower on the top. And if you're out on the Mersey estuary, especially near the Wirral, Parkgate, all of those, I think you can actually see across to Mulvamai in the Clwydian Hills.
Yeah, you can.
My dad, well, he's passed away, but they lived in near Wrexham, Johnstown sort of area, that sort of area. But no, we're actually in Norfolk, so we're nowhere near the Mersey.
Heather's asked that we live stream on Saturday, which we're going to have a go at, but we're certainly going to video it, Tim. So you and everyone will be videoed. I bought 4 batteries for my camera. Well, I already had 2, so I bought 2 more. So I've got 4 batteries and a tripod and 128 gigabyte memory card. So everyone's going to be videoed, and then we will cut and paste it out as like a show reel. But it's nice because often I put photos up of what goes on at these events. And people go, "Oh, that's a nice photo of your friend. He or she's pretty," or inverted commas, whatever the word is. What did they sound like? I go, "Oh, they're really good." They go, "But you've shown us a photo, not what they sing or read or do." So I thought, no, I'll start doing some video footage, and I think someone like Heather is quite right. Really, unless she's very lucky, there's no way they can drive up from North. Well, they could, but it's a long way. It's about a 5-hour drive, isn't it? Minimum. Yeah,
At
6
least
hours.
that, at least
Yeah,
that's
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a long way. Yeah. So, if the Wi-Fi works, we'll have a go at live streaming some of it. But we're definitely going to video everything, and it's going to be fabulous. So Tim's going to come back in a few minutes and do a couple more poems for us. But Alan and Samantha perform as a duo called Catch the Moon, and I've seen them live, I think 3 or 4 times now. And they do some rather nice covers of not always the songs that other people do covers of, although sometimes they do what you might call the obvious popular ones. I think they're working on their own material as well. Is that right, Alan? Are you working on your own material?
We are.
Yeah, yeah.
Sam's a good writer.
Yeah, so they're working on their own material, which is always the benchmark for what you want when you pick up a guitar and your voice and put them together. You want something that comes out of you, that is of you, and not just, well, I like Bob Dylan, so I've learned a Bob Dylan song, or other famous people are available. So Alan and Sam are going to, I hope, treat us to something now, because Sam, I think that you've both had COVID not too long back, didn't you? Or certainly something akin to COVID. Did you prove you had COVID? Did you get one of them little white?
We did, yeah. We were isolated for 2
Yeah,
weeks, yeah.
yeah. So obviously, if you've had COVID and you're a singer, well, it doesn't come back straight away, Sam, does it? Your voice, it can take a little while, can't it?
So he's given me one of these.
Oh, you've got one of them posh things called a microphone. Oh, very clever. That's a nice idea.
I'm not saying it's affected the voice, Tony, but she's going to do a cover of a Barry White song, okay?
Oh, is she now?
Not really.
Let's put you two
What's
on the
too loud,
spotlight.
Tony?
No, that sounds absolutely fine.
Did you
Sam,
hear this?
yeah, that sounds perfect. So what are you doing for us then, guys?
We're going to do both sides now, if my voice will keep up.
Wow, both sides now. The Joni Mitchell song, yeah. Yeah.
moons and dreams and Ferris wheels. The Disney dancing where you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You're even laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let it know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions. I recall, I really don't know. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, but now all friends are acting strange. Shake their heads. They say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions. I recall, I really don't know. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions. I recall, I really don't know.
I think we should clap. That was lovely. It's
Brilliant.
Yeah,
she's
all right.
Come back yet.
oh no, I mean
You
Joni
heard it
Mitchell.
okay?
Yeah, that sounded great. Honestly, I mean, it's amazing that she's not hugely famous, isn't it? Really, I mean, we probably all know her, because obviously we've all got taste and whatever. But you mention her name to most people, the only song they know is "Big Yellow Taxi." That's it. That's the only Joni Mitchell song anyone ever can name or mention. And she's written so many fabulous songs and arrangements. Like Alan said, I mean, she actually created her own guitar tuning, basically, Alan, didn't she? You were saying earlier.
Yeah, she had her own things called Joni tunings, and she was shown some of them by Stephen Stills.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So and obviously James Taylor was in on the
Hmm.
plan and that kind of thing. But she was very, very popular with those particular group of people in both the the Greenwich Village, and then over in California.
Yeah,
She was very, very well thought of.
yeah. I mean,
Great
she's re-releasing most of her records as they come up for their 50th anniversaries, by the way. So if you've not got Blue, which that song comes from, it start with Blue, but Ladies of the Canyon and several of others early albums are just every song is superb.
Well, what about the
Anyway,
hissing of summer lawns?
yeah, the Hissing of Summer Lawns. That was
Yeah.
their first one, I think, wasn't it? I think.
No, it's about 5 years in, I think, from the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
75, I think it was.
But I mean, she went quite jazzy in the 80s, and in fact, to be honest, some of the 80s stuff was you did it was like Steely Dan in a way. You've got to like the way it's put over. So it's not doubting the quality of the music or the songs, but the style of it is either do or don't get really. Anyway, we've got a few people saying hello on Facebook. My phone keeps pinging in the background,
Excellent.
which is nice. A girl called Francesca, who's one of our patrons
Ah.
actually. She runs a thing called the Crafty Nutkin, and she makes handmade cards. I think she does some other stuff, but she makes beautiful handmade cards for any occasion. She's nodding and agreeing that she's enjoying everything tonight. She
Ah.
occasionally pops in and says
Good.
hello.
She's not been well, Tony.
Oh, well,
She's been
this
in
is
bed for a week, over a week.
yeah. Well, we heard you had to have a day in bed after being out taking an imbibement in every
Why does it
hostelry.
always come back on me?
Brian had a very
Just
nice
like
house.
before.
Brian doesn't drink a lot. I know he doesn't because I've known him a long time. But he went out. Was it Saturday night, Brian? And he went to about
Yeah,
4 different bars. Everywhere he went, someone
no,
bought
there's
him
more
a
than
drink.
that, Tony.
Everywhere he
There's
went, somewhere bought him a drink, and he said yes to everybody. And he
I
was
went.
repressing it.
I ended up in the 54 club, and it's like expensive to even get in it.
You had to pay to go into a night.
No, now behave. No, I
You're-
don't. I know the security guys, and he
I know
just
you
said,
do. It's your nephew or something, isn't
they
it?
all
Yeah.
call me. They all call me Gramps or Grandad,
Aw,
and they
aw.
all give us hugs.
Oh, lovely.
They're all massive.
Yeah.
The bouncers,
They're
and they
all,
go, oh,
they're
Grandad,
all
like that.
local wrestlers, aren't they? They all do the
Yeah.
local wrestling. They're all big
Yeah,
chaps.
the big guys.
Yeah.
Well, my grandson Tom, he's just got an American wrestler come over to join his wrestling team,
Wow.
and he's
Yeah.
called
Ooh.
the Warhorse.
Yeah. He's
He's
probably
known as the
7'1".
He's a massive star in America, and he's come
Yeah.
over
That's
to my
cool, isn't it?
grandson's team.
Cool.
How good is that?
It is good.
He's-
It is.
That's
come-
cool.
I'm going
Yeah.
for a curry with him tomorrow, I think.
Oh, very nice. Anyway, let's get back to so we're here to promote as much as we can. This Saturday, 30th of April, 3 o'clock. Come down half an hour before because we'll be ready for you. We've got poets and performers, we've got singers, duos, 2 bands, and a lot of fun to be had at a bar called Murphy's Bar on Regent Road in Liverpool, near Costco. If you go down to Costco and bob down to the bottom road that I still call the Dock Road, then it's a couple of blocks up from Costco, heading out of Liverpool towards Bootle. Murphy's Bar, all the side roads are free parking. It's a very lovely, friendly bar, plenty of space. So if you're still worried about how close you are to other people, don't be worried. It's a big room, lots of seats, lots of tables. They've laid on some great local food for us, tea, coffee, all the usual stuff like decent beer and gin, which they make themselves. Also, we're supporting the Ukrainian crisis, Andy, aren't we? Twee Music, who's performing on the day and is part of etc., has sponsored a Ukrainian family at the moment, I do believe, who are going to be with us on the day. And we thought between all of us that we should do our best to raise a little bit of money towards that cause. So I know Sam's and Alan have been out to get one of them things you put money in, shaky tin things. And we're going to do a raffle, 2 bottles of gin. I'm going to bring a couple of sign books along, and I'm sure there'll be a few other things available. And whether it's £5, £50 or £500, anything we raise is going to go to some good. It's a free festival, so it's free to come in. So if you can put £1 in or £2 in, whatever you can afford, you get a raffle ticket, and bottle of gin if you drink gin. It's decent stuff. I'll bring a sign. I'm pretty sure I've got a Carol Ann Duffy and a Pam Ayres. I might have a couple of other signed poetry books I can bring along. I think I've got Brian Bilston. He's pretty popular. So I'll bring a couple of signed books along. I think some of the people singing might have a CD with them. So it's going to make a good little raffle, that. And I have to see if we can do that. There's sometimes a way you can do it through Facebook as well. You can do like a PayPal button, can't you? Like a donation button, can't you? So we'll have a look at that.
Tony, do you want me to bring a couple of little books up?
Yeah, Brian, if you
Oh,
are able to.
That That
Mark
Mark wrote
yeah,
on I
absolutely,
illustrated.
Mark. Oh, Brian, that would be lovely.
They're only small, but I'll bring a
Yeah.
couple up.
Brian, that would be lovely. And we must talk
It's
to you
not
about
size,
what's
it's quality.
yeah, but Brian I'll message you later about what time we can pick you up from somewhere on the way
Oh,
in.
fantastic.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
sort that for
I
you.
haven't got a clue what I'm doing, Tony.
We'll talk about that.
I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, so
let's just say whatever you do will be something worth seeing and hearing.
I don't
Yeah.
know about
It
that.
will be.
I
It
don't know
will be.
about. I'm
It
not
will be.
turning up in my underpants again. So
Well,
there.
they've got one of them hot air blowers, so you'll be fine. It's not like the cold door that we had in January. Anyway,
Right.
listen, but we are thrilled to have poets coming to perform at this event. I think poetry and music go together brilliantly. And
Absolutely.
Alan and Sam very kindly contacted our lovely guest tonight, Tim Johnson, asked him if he'd like to come and perform at the festival. He said he would. We had a chat with him the other Sunday to find out a little bit about him, and I've been seeing what he does on his Facebook page. He's had a book published. He's got another one on the way later this year. He's also hopefully going to be coming back to Liverpool, up to Hightown and other places that have poetry, evenings and
come round the bars with me.
gatherings, and he's going to become part of the travelling poets of the northwest. And there's some lovely people you meet at poetry nights. I mean, you're often surprised someone will come to the microphone and they'll say who they are and what they've written a poem about, and they'll read it out, and you listen and you go, that's beautiful, or that's funny, or that is sad, or that's of the moment. I mean, Tim writes a lot of his stuff is of the moment, and I think Zoe's very much a poet of that type. That Zoe will often write as we're talking in the evening. So in a few minutes' time, after Tim's done another piece for us, when we come to Zoe, she will probably have written something that's happened today, which is bonkers that she can put something together so quickly. But Tim, we're going to put you back on the spot, young man. Let's make you spotlight again.
Oh,
So-
lovely.
So no, don't worry. You're only on an audience of, there's only 8 of us here and about 12 or 15 others watching. It's not huge. Don't worry. It's not about fame yet. That will come later. So, is this a new piece, an old piece? What have you got for us?
All of the pieces that I've selected tonight were written roughly around the same time last year. They've just all been picked out chronologically so that you can see a sort of journey. It was while we were still in that period. It was before things were starting to open up again.
This was when you were in Japan then? This was
back in the UK. So everything that's written in 2021 is back on United Kingdom soil.
Yeah.
Which provoked a very different kind of response. Like if you look at 2020's poetry, there'll be some of it on the Saturday, which will be from 2020, and a lot of it's very personal and born from my own experience, and it's great that everyone could relate to that. But and then it's only when it comes back to the UK that the attention starts to focus outwards. So more of the UK poetry is in reaction to things that were happening.
Yeah, just very quickly before you what you're going to give us a quick hello to a friend from down south who I've only met through listening to a musician, John Bath. Lovely to have you with us, John. And there's a few. Peter in Formby's with us, and Colette in Hightown, one of our Hightown poets, is with us. So, and James O's a singer who was going to be on at the festival, but as happens, sometimes people get a double booking. So, hello to a few people who are tuning in as we speak. Nice of you to say hello, and hopefully you're going to enjoy what Tim's going to give us now. So, go on, Tim. Back to you, young sir.
Got you. Okay, so the second of the 3 pieces that I've chosen for tonight is called Bubble. Quiet times. I'm not often online. Ask your friends how they are. They reply, yeah, I'm fine. While we all navigate the borderline between reason and madness, peace of mind and sadness, in isolation, there's a shortage of gladness. For though we all have our own strains, most of us feel much the same. A repetitive painting that depicts us waiting day after day in the same frame. Though we can now meet with one friend to go walking, I won't judge if you don't wish to spend your time talking about what you have or you haven't done, so far removed from everyone, connected by the internet, all the while conscious of neglect, when it's too painful to reflect, but then too risky to expect. What can I echo back to you that you don't already feel the same way too? Our interests and points of view have merged together, and a few. So please don't take it personally or think you don't mean much to me if I'm a sight you rarely see until a time when we are free. Thanks.
That's excellent. I think a
Love
clap
it.
is deserved.
Your turn.
Tim, that is really good. And also, my ukulele teacher, Kareen's been watching us as well. And apologies, Kareen, because I haven't been since Christmas, and I do want to, and I will, I promise. And Karen over in, she's from Yorkshire, folks. She can't help it. Yeah, she's in Sheffield. She normally signs in, but she's a few people having problems with the internet tonight. I don't know if it's us or them. But she messaged me to say she can't get on to the Zoom, so she's watching us on Facebook. Bless. No, I always say this to Francesca, Brian's daughter, who's the crafty nutkin. Join in the Zoom. You're with us in the room. Then I think you get a different feel for what is going on with someone singing or talking or reading their poetry out. If you're with us, I'm never quite sure it's the same actually watching it on YouTube or Facebook. But never mind. Anyway, what we're going to do is, because Tim's going to do another piece for us, and he's picked a piece of music for us to play in a short while. But it might be nice if Paul Macca, as we call him, because his first name's Paul, and he is from Liverpool. And there's someone else called Macca who's called Paul from Liverpool who won't join us on the Monday night. So we've got the next best Macca, who's also called Paul from Liverpool.
Yeah, don't accept nothing but second best.
No, and next best is better than second best.
Hello, Paul. I was just thinking of a song I heard earlier on.
Indeed. So
Yeah.
Paul occasionally has been known to sing a shanty or a folk song for us, but he is also a published author for both children and adults. You've been recently out and about as best you can be as in these times. Meeting people who love books and stories. So you do a monthly session at a market, and you do another one at there's a group you go to, Paul. Give us a little quick.
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, anyone who's sort of at the stage of struggling, and I'm sure Tim will appreciate, when you are still nobody particularly important, you don't have an agent, so you've got to do all the PR work yourself, and it's a lot of leg muscle. And so I just take any sales opportunities I can get. The next one I have up front, if anyone would like to drop into the free all-day family activities sessions at the Irish Centre on West Derby Road on the Monday, the bank holiday.
May the 2nd.
Yeah, there's all sorts of activities going on. One of which is I have a stall there selling some of my books, children's books and adult books.
You raised a fair bit for Ukraine yourself last month.
I raised some, yeah. Well, I did say that anything I earn from my books during March will go to a Ukrainian fund. And I ticked the box for gift aid, and they got £130, I think it was.
That's not bad, because I raised 72, raffling off a signed what's his name, Kurt Cobain's mate who's still alive. Dave Grohl. I had a signed Dave Grohl book, and we raised £72 raffling that. And every little helps, doesn't it, Paul?
Absolutely, big time.
Yeah. So, Paul, what is this, something new or something?
Well, this is something which I haven't read here, but I'm going to blame Tim Johnson for this.
Okay.
Because he mentioned Mulvama.
He did.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting a fistful of Colomendi.
Ah, yes.
Rattling along which roads so long and bendy, Wouldn't you know we're off to Colamendy? There's 100 of us, and the wheels of the bus go round. Across Cheshire and Flint, we hustle and bustle and pound. Shut up at the back. You can just about hear Becca Burns, and I'm sure someone's lit up a fag on the back deck upstairs. He's up there like a shot. I'm sure that he's not very chuffed to find out that the culprit's class from his class, Annie Bruff. Boys go to Dome 1, girls to Dome 4, dragging our rucksacks and buzzing through scuffed doors. Sarah, I got here first. Hard luck, bags in the top bunk. 100 small niggles wriggle, niggle, and a sunk. Nobody sleeps the first night, that's a given, with screams and rude songs that calm Welsh night is riven. Papa Mills' face shows he'll soon be a case for the funny farm van. Someone slip my powder and tell him he'll have to relax, man. Still we're up with the lark the next morning. Welsh Wales beware, because the boys from St. Ozzie's with no further warning will be there. Packer Burns warned us, if you're late for your breakfast, if you want some breakfast, get out of bed. Then he almost got mauled in the rush to the door as off we sped. Did it really rain every day? After so long, it's hard for me to say. But the outdoor pool was freezing, despite the summer season. The days seemed packed with fieldwork trips, frozen feet, short-chapped lips, or evenings writing notes, drying coats, jeans, socks, gloves, shoes, coats. There was a broke wind during grace one morning, and he could really drop a foot. Stand up, yous, screamed Becca Burns. So, of course, we all stood up. He couldn't really flog us all, and because the smell was evil, he had to let us go outside till it passed and we could breathe. Every evening, Becca Burns told us one of his famous stories. Shaggy dog tales full of horrible puns, weird jokes, and some unlikely stories. Most of us had heard them before, but it didn't hurt to hear them once more. I'm sure that he thought that he'd use them to bore us to sleep. The hills are alive with the sound of the sheep stampeding, as us city kids charge up and scatter them far and wide. In my mind, I can hear that old drowned fear as he legs it. So look, you scarce kiss, I was having a snack. Now you've spoilt it. All too soon the weekends, and me and my friends are back on the bus and must leave Colamendy. And the things that we packed into one short week of activity and fun plus mellowest memories of friendship, adventure, friendship, and sun. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what it's like to go to Colamendy.
It's a massive thing for schools around Liverpool, isn't it?
I worked in Colamendy when I was a foreman. I used to be a foreman in Colamendy.
Yeah.
On the building.
Tim, did you ever go?
Loved it.
Busman's holiday for you being down the road, I think.
I do remember Colamendy. I mean, I used to go to Loggerheads all the time, and obviously you can see the building. They've got that kind of pagoda structure, if I remember right. And I remember going there when I was really, really young. And for some reason, the main thing I can remember is those kind of dressing room type studios they had in one part of it. And I just remember like the smell of like paint and emulsion and hairspray for some reason. And those lights which used to get really hot around the mirrors. That's like my only memory of Colamendy.
Yeah, sounds like that sounds like the dorms haven't been altered at all since I was there as a kid.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to put Zoe.
I went to work there. I worked for ManWeb as an engineer, and I went there a few times for some very unusual kind of surveys. And what struck me is that here we are in the middle of the countryside, and it's essentially like what's a sort of comprehensive school in miniature in the Welsh countryside. And it really must have been a fantastic thing to go to. I never went to such a thing, but it must have been fantastic to go there. But now it's run as an outdoor pursuit centre, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I think it's King's something, isn't it? Something I can't remember, but anyway, it's obviously some sort of like enterprise by
Oh,
somebody.
anything that can get kids outdoors and doing things with their hands and
Absolutely.
sharing with other people and learning
Exactly.
how to make something or build
Yeah.
something or solve a puzzle, cook for themselves or at least cook something that's been cooked properly for them and not just like microwaved or bought in certain types of cheap eateries. It's got to be a good thing. We need more things like that. Do you have
Years
anything like
ago,
that down there?
Jason, sorry, I was just interrupting. Years ago, Jason used to work at a boarding school, and we used to live at this school. And in the summer, loads of people used to come and camp in the grounds, not realizing there were many people there because only the teachers were there. Everybody else had gone off, all the kids had gone off. And one year, there were these scouts. Now, this is in deepest, darkest Norfolk. We're not from Norfolk, and there were these scouts in the playing field, and nobody else for miles. This is in the middle of nowhere. And do you know Sesame Street where there's Bert and
Yeah,
Ernie?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had a Bert balloon for some reason. I can't remember now. I probably won it. And I took this balloon back to where we lived. And as we were going into the door, it flew off. And I was like, oh, quick, quick. So we ran around this school. It's like a big manor house in Norfolk. Ran to the front, and there were all these kids in little tents. And this Bert balloon flew past the door of this tent. And you just heard, ah! And it carried on. But the other thing was that we used to have lots of people coming who were doing religious things and living in the school. So when all the kids were home, they'd come and live at the school. And there are these Christian communities that used to come in, and they get up at something like 6 o'clock in the morning and all come down and start singing outside. Well, this is his school holidays. I was still working. And in the place that we had, that was a flat in this school, it used to be a dormitory, and our smoke alarm was much too sensitive. It was a bedroom one rather than a kitchen one, and they'd converted it into a flat with a kitchen. But literally, if you put the toaster on, it would set the fire alarm off. But not just in that school, but across the whole of this school. And we came in at something like 2 in the morning, as you do after a drink, burnt these toast, and everybody had to evacuate the school. Well,
Oh no!
The next morning, there was no singing outside, so we were
Oh
no!
For my sins, I was a scout leader and commissioner for a long time in North Wales, and we've been to most of the outdoor spaces around and about. And when kids go away, I can tell you first of all, it seems to be a prerequisite for young lads and young girls to be pyromaniacs. They absolutely love making fires, and they'll cook anything at all, and generally eat it as well. But I've had some fantastic times doing that with them. And what an organisation to be a part of.
Oh yeah, I was in Cub Scouts.
I was,
and I was university. We had a university scout group, and we had a fabulous time. We had a great time. Yeah. Anyway, Zoe down there. Oh, sorry, Brian.
No, carry on. No, Zoe, ladies first. Go on.
Yeah, no, Zoe writes quite succinct pieces, usually flash fiction or poetry, often literally about something that's popped into her head while she's listening to the rest of us, or something that's happened during the day. So I'm hoping she's been creative today, and we're not putting her on the spot, without meaning to.
On the spot, don't be after this. You ready?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a slightly longer one, and I've got a bit of a short one, if that's okay. Seek solace in the stars, leave despair in the soft night air, and let the music take you. Release your positive notes, let them melt from soul to core, till you become them and they become you. Seek solace in the moon, be bathed in its earth-giving warmth, let it swim through you, take you back to carefree childhood days. With the hours stretch like a well-worn lie, there's much to be said for a life of fantasy.
Excellent. That's really good. Lovely stuff, Zoe. So, I mean, Zoe's also working on a book, Tim. She's hoping to have it out roughly September, October time, so it might slowly work towards raising some money for. Is it a charity you work for, or you've got an association with, Zoe?
Well, it's, to be honest with you, it's kind of changed a bit because I've got two sort of collections that I've been working on. So the first one that I'm hoping to have out for charity at Little Hearts, due to have a nephew who died of heart problems.
Oh.
So I wanted, because I don't have not really any association, but I came across it, and so I thought, well, that's quite appropriate. And then the other one, the Christmas collection, where can I be using that tradesman for Darien House, where he
Darien
died.
House, that's it. That's right. Yeah. So I mean, so they're things in the pipeline. They're things in the pipeline. Anyway, listen, before we let Tim read us another piece of his, the man who's organising, or mostly, well, certainly taking the lead on organising this Saturday's free festival of words and music, is Lord Hesford of Halewood, or Andy as we call him. And he's going to have to unmute himself because otherwise we won't hear him.
I'm afraid now I've actually decided to interrupt your silence.
Yes, yeah. Are you playing a Simon and Garfunkel song again, are you?
No. He never play any of mine. You know.
Well, he doesn't do anything anymore. One of them went walking around on his own for about 5 years, and the other one retired about 2 years ago because he got fed up.
No, they were like brothers. One of them, in many ways, there was antagonism as well. I mean, if you
they had their period of not speaking to each other for quite some time. In fact, when they did one of their reunions, I don't think they talked to each other the whole time they were on stage, did they?
Well, I don't think so. I've actually got a box set including the concert in Central Park, and it strikes me that there's still those little bits of antagonism which are going on. When he did the song Frank Lloyd Wright on Bridge Over Troubled Water, one of the things that's happening in the background, and Frank Lloyd Wright is like a big Spectre-ish production, and you hear "So long," and meanwhile in the backwards, "So long already, Artie."
Oh no,
Paul Simon. So there was this element of antagonism going on. A pity, really, because together they set quite a high benchmark. And when the BBC celebrated I think it's 2007, they celebrated their 40 years of radios 1, 2, 3, and 4. They found a tape from a morning program called 5 to 10, which David Kossoff used to read a lesson at, and he played a piece of music that was appropriate to the matter. And the first day they did 5 to 10, and I think it was Radio 2. It was Paul Simon doing I Am a Rock, and someone had actually found the tape. It was recorded in some pub when he come over to England on a visit, not to play, just on a visit. And he played I Am a Rock, and it's a very unique performance from September 1967. But I'm not going to play that. Although I do admit one of my favourite songs by Simon and Garfunkel is America. Love America. I think America's, and when anyone can write a line as sublime as "The moon rose over an open field," and it's hard to explain the emotive effect of that, but I love it. Hang on, give me a moment. I know. I'll play this one now. As Tony will remember, when we did the Philharmonic Dining Room,
we did,
and I did about 7 or 8 songs. And one of the songs I did was to break it up in the middle, was the cover version to highlight the harmonies that Twee and Lucy were given in harmony. And this one was in my head for a few weeks. I thought I might as well do it. I bless the day I found you. I want to stay around you, and so I beg you, let it be me. Don't take this heaven from one, if you should cling to someone, now and forever, let it be me. Each time we meet, love, I find complete love. Without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely. Say that you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me. Each time we meet, love, I'd find complete love. Without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely. Say that you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me, and that you'll always let it be me.
Lovely, mate. Lovely. Something about simple, beautiful songs that really just works, doesn't it? That was lovely.
Simply through the key.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyway, so Jason and Heather, I hope might at some point in about 5 minutes, they're gonna treat us to something that's lovely. Oh, so another friend of mine, Neil, who lives down in Bournemouth, actually, he's hoping to sign in a minute. People are having a problem with the internet tonight. Don't know what it is.
It seems a bit slow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, so my friend Neil's going to hopefully sign in a minute because he's been trying to watch. Well, he has been watching us on Facebook. Before we let him do another piece, I think we should play a song by one of the other people who's going to be performing on Saturday, Andy. So you've got a choice, Andy, of either Alan O'Hare, who's the lead singer of a group called Only Child, or a young lady called Alison Benson. So
I think we should have both.
No, we have to play one before the other. So we'll do one now.
Ladies first,
Then
Alison.
we'll play an Alison Benson track, and then we'll let Tim do another piece of poetry of Tim's. Okay,
That would be
so
lovely.
Alison is a wonderful. She's got a great voice. She's a superb ukulele player, and she released a song about 2020 called "Song of the Liver Bird" that won the Liverpool Acoustic Songwriters Challenge. And for those of you that don't know, I know Paul McDermott knows this, but there's two, possibly cormorants, although no one's quite sure. Moored
One's named
to,
Pierre and the other's named Ed.
yeah, Pier and Ed, who are tied on to the top of the what we call the Liver buildings, down at the pier head, as Paul's just rightly said. And one looks out to sea and is protecting Liverpool from anything that may come in from the sea, and the other one is staring into land and protecting us from invasion from behind. Is loosely the analogy. And the thing that Alison decided is that they can't see each other, but they love each other. So it's called The Song of the Liver Bird. I hope you're going to like it. I think it's a great song. She won the Liverpool Acoustic Singer-Songwriter Challenge with this song, and she may well play it on Saturday. But if not, we're going to play it now.
If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love, to you. So high we sit, not face to face, made to the sea, the cities race, sentinels set apart, keeping secrets inside my heart. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love, to you. Through the war my heart was torn, fear for my love, my city forlorn. Children leave and how you cry, as the bombs they fly. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love, to you. Forever together, always apart, a cruel design in the name of art, that we should love and watch and see, but never, sweetheart, you see me. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love. If I could fly from off this perch, see 100 different worlds, I would return, always return, my love, to you. To
Wow, I hope you like that. Isn't that lovely?
That was amazing.
Such a simple idea for a song,
That
but it
was
works so
really
well,
lovely,
doesn't it?
really lovely.
She's got a great voice, Alison. She kindly came and did a set for myself and my friend Sally Ann, who teaches art on a Monday night, so she rarely gets a chance to sign in and join us. Well, another reason we're going to move to a Sunday from May the 8th is there are people that would join us on a Monday who can't. So May the 8th, we're going to start on a Sunday. First one will just be a general open mic. Then the week after, the 15th, is an appraisal of the rock opera Tommy by The Who, which should be fun. If you like a bit of power chording, as I'm sure Alan and Andy know all about power chords. I'm sure Alan does, because Alan presses the strings really hard, he says.
I'm a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah, yeah. So he'll be doing windmills. He can do his pinball wizard for us, or something like that. See me, hear me, feel me. That's the one I can see Alan doing. Yeah, he's not convinced.
I'm anyone's, Tony.
Yeah, that's well. We won't go into the details live on air. You could get into trouble, you know. Anyway, Uncle Brian, as he is there. For those that don't know, Brian Gibson is an artist primarily, and he makes things, he does things, he writes things, he sings things, and he is basically just an all-round lovely, wonderful person. And he knows lots of people. He's known, well, he still knows lots of people, but he's known people like Carla Lane and Denise Robertson and probably all hundreds of other people I can't remember that he's told me about. But Brian and I met on when we both used to do guest slots on Radio Merseyside many moons ago now, Brian, at least 5 years ago, probably more. You mute, mate. Hold on. You need to unmute. Can I unmute, Brian? Can I? This is oh, Brian.
Yeah, you
Hello,
muted
Brian.
me without telling me.
Oh,
How
sorry,
dare you?
mate. No, occasionally when someone's doing their piece, I suddenly remember if I mute everyone, it just takes away any, if our phones go in the background or anything like that. But no, Brian and I used to both be regular late night panelists on a show for Radio Merseyside with Linda McDermott. We had a great time. I saw Cosmic Jan on Thursday.
Ah, she's lovely.
Cosmic Jan came down to our poetry night to see Davey Edge perform.
She's lovely, Jan.
But so Brian's done so many things. Mostly originally you were an artist, weren't you? It was your original thing, really.
Pretend to be.
No, Brian.
No, I know. You know what
Brian is a
somewhere.
fabulous artist. He's written stuff as well. He writes as he might do for us. He might do one of his lovely love poems, if that's the word to give it. Have you got one to hand, Brian? Have you got anything to hand
Well,
or not?
Because you were talking about children before.
Oh, okay. You can do whatever you want.
There was some there and these are from 1993, right? Because I've been trying to organize my little studio today, but I've got papers everywhere, and so I've come across these two. And it's really talking about Calamendi and the children. So, and the fact that I worked in Calamendi as a foreman, putting water pipes and stuff in, So this one, I put the two together. There's two like separate little poems, but I'll try and link them together. Every morning, my alarm clock rings, and I jump out of bed and I do my thing. Exercises 1, 2, 3, and I run round the bedroom, and then I go and clean my teeth. I change to my school clothes and I comb my hair. I can't find my school tie. Oh, it's under the chair. I ring up my best mate. There's a girl called Helen. She's got a brother. He looks like Lennon. We meet by the corner shop with the homework on our hands, and our pencils at the ready, then run through the school gates, and in comes Freddie. Freddie is a heartthrob, and Freddie is so cool, and Freddie likes to rock and roll all day, and he sometimes plays the fool. As I say, morning's here, it's time for school. I snatch my homework and I grab a rule. My school clothes on, my cornflakes ate, and I slate my orange juice. I can't be late. I run to the corner and I jump on the bus, and my stomach's churning in all this rush. I pays me fare and I meet me mates, and the school bell rings as I make the gate. I run down the corridor and get into class, and so does everyone else, so I'm not the last. I just sit down as the teacher comes in and faces the class with a great big grin. Morning, girls. I just want to say, this school is rocking when you don't come late. That's it.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Fabulous, Brian.
But that's like two of them stuck together.
Oh, no, Brian.
I know they didn't gel properly. So.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They do gel together. They gel together because they're both of your making, and you've got a lovely, lovely turn of phrase, Brian. Whether you call it lyrics or poetry, they could at times be either, really. But you are a hopeless romantic at heart.
I know. Here's another quick one.
Brian's been in love more times than most of us have had hot dinners.
Hey,
he's terrible.
I've had enough of you. Right, here's another one.
Hold on, let's make you look important. Off you go.
I'll never be that, Tony. Right, if you've taken the knocks in life and been pushed out in the cold, and that big dark cloud above your head, and life's a heavy load, and when everything's against you and your eyes are all cried out, and your self-esteem has hit the rocks, and you just want to scream and shout, there's a look in your eyes, and I'm sick of the lies, and the thought of revenge is sweet, as I sit here now that the day has come and you're groveling at my feet. But I'll just walk away from you, and on my way I'll go. I want nothing more to do with you, as the door to you I show. That's enough.
Oh, Brian. Oh, you're showing a little bit of a...
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just poetry, Tony.
I know it's just poetry. I like winding you up a little bit.
Oh, I know you do.
With Brian, I've known Brian a long time, and it's nice to have someone that you can rib a little, isn't it? Really, it's
absolutely.
Nice. It is nice. Anyway, Tim, we're going to put you back on the spot here. You've got one more proper piece for us tonight. And folks out there, I know there's a few of you watching us, which we're hugely appreciative of. This Saturday, doors open about 2:30, 2:45. First act on is 3:00. We've got poets, we've got singers, we've got a duo, Catch the Moon, who did a song for us earlier. We've got a punk band called the Dregs, who are not from Minnesota. I found out on Facebook tonight. I tagged them on Facebook. They said, "We're in Minnesota. We're not a punk band, you know." Well, the Dregs that are playing for us are. So two bands with the same name. It does happen occasionally, doesn't it? So they're going to do like 20 punk classics in 20 minutes or something a bit like that. So Tim, we're going to have to dance, mate. We're all going to have to dance. We're going to have to have a bop around. So Murphy's Bar is on Regent Road, which is basically, if you know where Costco is, at the far end of Great Howard Street. Oh, yeah, ManWeb is the Merseyside and North Wales Electricity Board. Yeah, I was going to tell Jason that. I knew that. Yeah, yeah. They were very famous back in the day. Yeah. So we're all going to be there. Tim's coming over from Wrexham Way. He's going to do a set for us. We've got Phil McNulty, who's one of the Southport Fringe poets. Brian's going to be there and do something. We'll discuss with him what he's going to do. He might be just collecting. He might be collecting empties and things like that, because he does that most Friday nights. He goes out and collects empties in all the bars in Liverpool. So anyway, let him in.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it, Tony.
We've got, but to end the night, as you may have got from us earlier, if you were with us then, still with us now, we've got Kazuki Mikami playing guitar with a band that Andy and Alan have put together called Etc. Because it's whoever turns up joins in. So we've got a guy called Steve on drums, who's fantastic. Twee music on soundscapes, flute and backing vocals. Sam's going to take lead vocals on a couple of tracks and sing along and play glow-in-the-dark tambourines. Sam and I are going to play these. We've got glow-in-the-dark tambourines, Sam and I. We're going to, and I'll be there on my cajon, tapping away in the background. And Dave Holden is going to add a little bit of...
as long as your maracas don't blow, Tony.
Well, I haven't got a maracas with me this time. Dave Holden's going to be... So we're going to have a fabulous time. We do want some of you to come. We're going to have a raffle and collect a little bit of money for, inverted commas, the Ukrainian appeal. So, come along, relax and enjoy yourselves. And, the more the merrier, really. It's a big place. We can easily get 100 people in, probably more. This sort of thing, we want it to happen every 3 months or so. We want people like Tim to come along, do a set for us, maybe leave it 3 or 6 months and then come back and do new material. Also, if got a book of a CD with them, then they can bring them along and, sell a few as well. So, Tim, this is your last piece for tonight. And tell us what you're doing.
Got you. So this one is the last of the poem trilogy from tonight, which is from that lovely phase of 2021. This one is called Perspective, and I think I probably started this one. I think it probably grew out of like a Father Ted quote when me and my brother were sat on the sofa at like the small hours of the morning, rewatching, all the Channel 4 series, as he did. When he didn't have to do anything else, and then the rest of it that grew out of that is kind of my brain unraveling like it likes to do. So this is Perspective. What may be big and close today, tomorrow small and far away. A spot, a dot, the faintest blot, on lens or scope, it all depends how you cope. When you set your eyes on the horizon and try to make out subtle forms cast in doubt, by the distance between makes it hard to be seen or clearly perceived to be believed as anything other than a little mark, a blemish within a scene soon to turn dark, a blur beheld in the corner of an eye to be swallowed up by the sky. As night descends, the sight line ends, and the light at your window shall burn on its own, another solitary home. Sitting in the folds of a patchwork quilt, with every other house that's built of slate and stone, we're all alone, though all within reach of a telephone that can't erase but may negate awareness of the vast and yawning space that exists between us and any other place, where another soul awaits up late and stares to see if there's anyone else out there. Thanks.
Love it.
Wonderful, Tim. Really lovely. Oh, we're going to enjoy what you're doing on Saturday. We are. It's going to be fabulous. So Tim's picked the song we're going to play in a minute or two, but Jason and Heather have been just sat there enjoying themselves, which is, what we intend really. We want people to look at Andy looking all serious there. He's going to pretend he can see now. You're on mute, Andy, again.
I was listening.
I know you were, but you
I'm
can't
doing
talk when
nothing.
you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Did anyone hear the echo with Rebecca? And
There was a little bit of echo. I muted myself
when,
as well.
when he
I
was
know
reading.
it's weird.
Everybody mutes themselves. And we were just remembering the Father Ted thing with the cow. we were trying to think if we had a toy cow so we could do it for you while you were doing it.
That is my favourite quote from Father Ted.
My favourite bit of Father Ted is, when you're going to the mainland and Father Jack goes in for the eye test.
Oh,
And I as someone who actually had to do that for many years,
I don't know that
and he had, this has been supplied by the Arse Feck Company, or the Feck Arse Company, and every time I did an eye test, there was somebody who said, "Was that a Father Ted thing?" I said, "No, mine's very dull." I used to love that.
Yeah, no,
Great.
Father Ted. I mean, it's a great shame because he was on the crest of the wave, wasn't he? Really, and sadly taken away far too soon. Great shame, great shame. But no, Jason and Heather, we'll put them on a bit of a spot here. But Jason plays guitar and musical saw, and violin occasionally. But sometimes they just sing and clap. So I don't, what,
That depends if we've practiced it or not.
it does. What are you going to do for us, guys?
We're going to do somebody from Manchester for you.
Oh, brilliant!
I thought that'd go down really well. Could everybody mute themselves, please, because it feeds back for us if not.
Yeah.
You'll know it. Jason's going to do it. Actually, I'm not going to have a lot to do.
Well, because we were talking about him last week. You'll recognise this. I'll tune my guitar up, shall I?
You did that before.
I know, it goes out of tune.
See.
That's pretty good. I thought you had passed. You found me at last. I could never be one. And now that you're here and you finally do hear, it's so clear on the wings of the dawn. The smile starts to shine and you breathe in the brine of the spray of the very same day. The same day we all go, when we're absolutely sure that we know what it is to be floating away. Oh, there's a love nest in Tom Tiddler's ground. Oh, there's a love nest in Tom Tiddler's ground. Long before Eden was lost and found. And you have to be kind if you ever want to find the place where your face could have shown. Especially when you don't dare to force anyone there to share in the ice that is being blown. Oh, there's a love nest in Tom Tiddler's me say yes, but you know it's a guess. Somebody else shouted no. But you know freedom is free. All the forces be. Yes, and the ice that you two thought that you should throw. Oh, there's a loveliness in Tom Tiddler's ground. Oh, there's a loveliness in Tom Tiddler's ground. And long before Eden was a lost and found. You know, I thought you had passed, but you found me at last. You know I could never be one. And now that you're here and you finally do it, it's so clear on the wings of the dawn. When your smile starts to shine, you breathe in the brine of the spray of the very same day. The same day we all go, when we're absolutely sure that we know what it is to be floating away. Oh, there's a loveliness on Tom Tiddler's ground. Oh, there's a loveliness on Tom Tiddler's ground. Long before Eden was lost and found.
Stunning stuff. Oh, what a fabulous song. So Roy Harper,
Yeah.
who was featured last week, yeah, and there's rumours that it's a euphemism for not knowing what you're doing. Actually, I don't know if
I really want to know what it means because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, there's a game. There's a kids game called Tom Tiddler's Ground, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where you've got to try and take something off someone when they're not looking. You know, like creeping up behind people. You know, but there's apparently it's an old folk song, isn't it? Really, so it goes back. He recorded it early 70s, I would imagine.
Something like that.
I've been playing it since I was 18. God, that's
so
too many years ago.
Maybe late 80s then.
No, because back then when I learned it, we didn't have the internet to research what it meant or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you told me.
Yes, it was on the back of an album cover. You're in the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all very true, isn't it? Very true. Anyway, Tim is with us on Saturday. Murphy's Bar, 3 till 8, roughly. Get there a little earlier, and we'll probably finish a little later because we want everyone who comes along to get the most out of it. It's all free, although we're having a raffle and raising as much as we can for the Ukrainian appeal. Some couple of bottles of gin from the venue, a couple of signed books I'll bring along, and a CD or two will be available. And Brian's going to bring a book or two along. So we're going to have a fabulous time. Tim's picked a song that may not be on the playlist on the day because it's first time we've ever heard it. So Tim, unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about it before we play it.
Yeah, sure thing. Sorry, that was a really beautiful piece before.
Oh, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I don't know if these are musicians that are on people's radar. I guess they might be, but it's made me want to go back and listen to some of the John and Beverly Martin duets.
Oh yes.
It's really, really lovely singing. So thank you very much, both. But yeah, the song that I picked, I wanted to flag up some people that I've kind of seen growing up and been to school with and all sorts, and to watch them, you know, take off and do their thing and creatively come into their own is quite special. Most of them don't really use YouTube. There's a few that I can flag up here now. There's a brilliant band called San Francisco that people should definitely check out, and I think that they're based in Leeds. So I'll share some details after this. They're really good. There's a little duo called Charmist. So that's Charm and then IST on the end, who are kind of, I don't even know how I would describe them, to be honest, but they're really good. And I think they might be based like Hereford way, I'm not sure. And then there's also a guy who I went to school with. He was part of another band, and now he's doing his own thing and goes under the music name of Monge 2. And this is the video that I found from him on YouTube and the track that I picked for tonight. So as Tony said before, it's got a really good Manchester vibe. It nicely takes you back, I think, but it still feels kind of relevant to now. So yeah, I just think it's great. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, well, you know, we are going to have a party. I mean, you know, we all need to enjoy ourselves, don't we? So this is Monge 2 and a song called Give It Up. And let's have a listen and a good time with this. That's really good, actually. It definitely grows on you, doesn't it, actually? It's quite infectious. Oh, hold on. We're just having a slight problem here. Hold on one sec. Hold on. As usual, if I forget to press pause at the wrong time, we get the adverts that come afterwards. You know, and we're not sponsored. This is all free stuff. This we don't want adverts spoiling the fun for us.
No.
Oh no. Anyway, folks, listen. We have had an absolutely beautiful time tonight. We're carrying on for a bit, but I just thought, you know, and Andy's had to dip off because bless him, it's past his bedtime. Poor Andy. I get, you know, time to go home, and he has to go to bed about 9:30, or no, I think he might have to get up in the morning. I have to get up in the morning. I'm back at work myself. It's horrible, horrible. We had to rebuild the school library today. It was dusty to say the least. Oh, I got home at 4:30, and I said to my dad, I said, I'll be down in a minute. I need a shower. Literally covered in dust. We moved from a big room to a less big room, and we've had to put all the shelves back on, and the books are going on tomorrow. But we've got to wash all the shelves. Oh, anyway, the joys of school libraries, yeah. But it'll be worth it when it's done. So I hope everyone who's with us tonight, and the people out there who've joined in and seen and heard some of what we're doing tonight, I'm sure they're all going to say that they've thoroughly enjoyed what Tim Johnson's done for us. Beautiful words and real meaning, Tim. And that, I mean, Brian and Paul and Zoe are all poets themselves. And, you know, the thing about writing, whether it's poetry or prose, flash fiction or a story, is it's got to have feeling and meaning. It's got to have
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
you are doing it, Tim, honestly. So the fact that you're new to it, don't let it stop. You know,
Seriously, don't put it off your brain.
write, and you will pull out the best of it. That's the thing. I mean, Paul, perhaps of any of us, knows the pitfalls of the word editing, and it's a bit
Yes,
like,
that's true.
you know, it's almost,
You've got to like it.
yeah,
You've got to like doing it.
yeah. You've got to go over things you've done and say to yourself, did I really get that right? Did I mean it? Is that really what I wanted to say? But I think that once you've found your voice, and you were saying that earlier about having a voice to project, to reach out with and be heard with, that is important. That is useful. But your voice comes from what you say. It's not what you sound like, it's what you say. And what you're saying is worth us hearing, and it's worth us sharing with other people. So I'm sure everyone here tonight who's, you know, we're all on Facebook and all the other platforms. Don't be frightened of saying, Paul, Brian, Heather, anyone, here's a new poem I've written. Will you read it? Will you watch it? Will you hear it? You know, we all need to reach out and share what we do to other people, you know, and that's important. Don't just write it and say it's there. Tag me, tag Paul, tag Heather, tag Zoe, tag Brian. You know, no one's going to mind unless you're doing it with every single thing you ever put on Facebook. But you're not going to do that. So when you've got something new to share, you know Alan and Samantha, you know Jason and Heather now, you know myself, Paul, Brian, Andy, everyone else. Don't be frightened to saying, here's what I'm doing. Would you like to see and hear it, Tim? You know, we need to see and hear what you're doing, just as much as we need to see and hear what other people are doing. So hopefully you're going to have a good time on Saturday. Have you worked out your transport links?
Yeah. Chester to Liverpool is an easy commute. It's so straightforward. Thank you so much, tonight, everyone. Thanks for letting me come along and introduce you to a bit of my stuff, and thank you for listening to it. If you'd like to see more of it, because there's a few of you in the Zoom call now, and unfortunately, when I come to add people on Facebook, I can't tell based on people's profile pictures all the time who is actually who. So if you're happy to give Trash Poetry a bit of a following on Facebook, I'd love it if you just followed the page.
Tag me, and I will, Tim, tag me and I'll share it for you when you get a minute later. Because it sounds silly, but everyone knows me. So if you tag me, I can say, this is my friend Tim and this is what he's doing. And then Heather and everyone else can see it and follow you. But you're right. You know what? We all need, within inverted commas, as many friends as we can gain. And then what we're doing and saying and singing and sharing goes to those people. You know, that's the important thing. But we're so looking forward to meeting you properly as a person on Saturday. Yeah, Messenger. You've got my
Perfect.
details, and you've got Alan and probably Andy's details.
Do you mind if I add one more thing, which
Yeah,
is just kind of
yeah,
on
of
the note
course.
of all the poems
Yeah.
I shared tonight? Because there were all these conversations I had. I was very lucky when I came back to the UK. I was living with some very close friends of mine, and they're all artists and creative people, amazing people who are very confident in just doing their own thing. It doesn't matter how many people subscribe or see it. They're just, you know, amazing talents in their own right. And they were always saying, you know, we had so much time. I don't know what it was like for all of yourselves, but we spent so much time locked away in a building, and you know, watching the news, which is a depressing business. It was then and it is now. And there were all these conversations saying, you know, well, when things do start to open up again, you know, the creative scene and the art scene and individual expression has always flourished when times are bad. You know, when people are feeling the squeeze and the general mood is bleak, that's when some of the best art comes out of it. And it means the world now to get involved in communities like the one that you've built here, and to see what people are making and sharing, and feel like I'm a part of that. So thank you very much.
Oh, Tim, you're welcome to be a part of what we're all liking and doing and sharing. And you're right, we need as many people as possible to create things and share things and do things. I see this, you know, with some of the children I work with. Well, you've been you taught over in Japan, didn't you? I've got children that come to me and they'll suddenly say, Sir, can I show you what I've done for my homework? Can I show you what I've done? And initially they don't want to do homework. And now they're coming to me saying, Sir, I've written a story. Will you read it, sir? Will you show it to Mr. Hunt? Will you show it to Miss Aspinall? Will you show it to Mrs. Tappier, who's the boss? And they're creating words and they're doing their absolute best to make something happen based on how they express themselves. And that's no different than your poems or what Paul writes about or Brian makes up on the spot. Because he never writes anything down, bless him. He's never learnt to read and write, bless him. He can't help it. He just has to smile and jump around, you know. And you know, I've offered to write things down for him, but he has a lump of coal and that's it. A lump of coal. You're on mute, Brian. The actual mute. Brian, you're on mute again. Unmute, mate. Unmute. Oh, there you are.
Muted me again. I'm
We had
sick
to,
and
we had
tired of
to.
you. I
Oh,
don't
no,
even
you're
know
not.
why I come on this show.
You come
You
on because
insult me
you're
every
lovely.
single week.
And we love insulting you every
Yeah,
week.
I know you do.
But
I
no,
know you do.
Brian has been, I'm going to spoil the fun for him here, but he's been around slightly longer than me. I know he looks
No,
younger
I
than me.
haven't. I'm younger than you.
You're not.
Yeah, his birthday's the 29th of February.
What was that, Paul?
So his birthday's the 29th of February.
Oh, yeah, could be. Pirates, Penzance and all that.
This was my Saturday night out gear the other night.
I've seen videos of you out on Saturday night. They're all over
That was
Facebook.
me the other night, look. In Club 54.
Yeah. You went all the way to New York to go to a nightclub.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do, isn't it?
It was a club, wasn't it? Isn't it a New York club, Club 54? Wasn't it in New York originally?
I don't. Well, it's in Liverpool as well.
I know there's one in Liverpool, but I'm sure the original was.
It was Studio 54 on West 54th
That's
Street.
the one, Studio 54. Andy Warhol and all them people, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh dear. Anyway, Tim, we are so looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Drop us a message when you're en route, because hopefully, possibly, myself or someone can maybe pick you up from Lime. Are you coming into Lime Street?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Like,
okay, well, once you know,
if you come from Chester, you get off at Central if you come from Chester.
Does he? Central, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, drop us a message when you know your journey time, because if we can, and if the time allows, then you know, hopefully someone might be able to pop out.
Well, you can get a taxi right outside, and it's like 3 minutes away, isn't it? 4 minutes
It's not
away.
far. It's not far.
Pretty
But
good.
let us know you're on your way. And
Will
if we can grab you for a lift, we will. Because I've got to pick Brian up. Between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
Tony, I've told you, I'm not a pickup. I'm sick and tired of telling you.
Oh, well, indeed.
Don't be coming to me with a bottle of wine.
Well, I might bring you a bottle of wine on Saturday.
Well, I know you've tried it before. I'm not having it.
Anyway, listen, folks, we're gonna be saying our goodbyes in a minute. Before we go, I want to play one more song, and it's not for the reason you might think. It's because we played other songs by him, and this one is great. Alan O'Hare, who is the singer, the songwriter, and the main man in Only Child, celebrated 10 years of recording, has written a book about a chap called William Ralph Dean, who played for a football club called Everton FC. And I'm not playing it for any reason other than he's written this song and it's great. He's a huge Everton fan. I'm sure you're going to love this song. He won't be doing it live on Saturday either. He'll be doing the other ones that were played.
Hero is something to be, and I remember what my granddad told me about Bill Cream and Spello Lane, and he told me about a man with an ordinary name. He whispered his name, and he told me all about those things he'd seen. William Ralph Dean. It was 1933, number 9 on his back. Yet it's only a game, but the row of life's jack. When you watch your younger brother come home from a war, and all he's got are the docks and the factory floor. He whispered his name, and he told me all about those things he'd seen. William Ralph Dean. Factory takes his hearing, yeah, the factory gives him life. Factory whistle is taking the place of the drums and the fife. Factory takes his hearing, but that factory gives him nights. Factory wages are taking the place of the senses, sounds and sights. Oh, they say a working class hero is
for those that don't know, Dixie Dean was a hugely famous footballer back in the days where they walked to the ground with the fans. Paul, I think Paul's an Everton fan. Paul, are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do not subscribe to. I don't believe in sticking your head in the sand and pretending who me, just because the results haven't gone well recently. I still think there's no great shame in losing to Liverpool, and I don't expect there to be any further problems this season.
No, they've got some
stuff
good
Chelsea next Saturday.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I genuinely hope they do. I want both teams in Liverpool to come first and second in the league. Or you know,
Well, that'll happen next year.
Both be good enough to be, competing and staying in the league. But no, Dixie Dean scored, I don't know, was it 40 or 50 goals?
66 goals.
66 goals.
66 goals in a
they get
single
excited.
season.
They get excited back when a like Mo Salah or someone scores 10 or 20 these days. And some of them do very well. There's a guy called Mitrovic plays for Fulham who scored 41 goals this season. But Dixie Dean scored, like Paul said, 66 goals this season.
And they were with proper case balls. They were
I know they were. Oh, I know they were.
Not like they are today.
Yeah.
Proper head the ball stuff.
Yeah, but he's
got a
statue.
blow on the ball today.
He's got a statue outside. Statue outside Goodison, hasn't he? Hopefully that statue will go when they move down to Bramley Moor Dock, because they're building a new stadium down on the dock front, aren't they? Or at least we hope they are. There was talk of it. Yeah, they're meant to be moving a new stadium, aren't they? Anyway, guys, listen, I genuinely have to be up at 6:30 for work, so we are going to have to say thank you to one and all. It's been an absolute joy tonight. Don't forget, no show next week, i.e. Saturday or Sunday or Monday. The week after, Sunday, the 8th of May, 7 or 7:30. I'll send a few messages out, see which time suits people. Come in like you've done tonight, Tim. You'd be most welcome to come back and read another couple of poems for us.
Oh dear God!
What?
I've just this second realised I shouldn't have been here tonight.
Oh no, you meant to be in a writers' circle.
No, I was supposed to be at meeting at the St. Francis Xavier's Old Boys Club.
Oh no! Oh, Paul!
I'm on the committee.
Oh,
I'm
you'll be shouting at.
I shouldn't have been there.
You're not blaming any of us. We are here of our own free will. We haven't paid any of you yet.
We never saw you. We haven't seen you anyway, Paul. We haven't seen you tonight.
But as ever, it's a joy to have friends who can come together and sing and read poems for each other. Just enjoy each other's company, talk to each other, share what we're all doing. So Sunday, the 8th of May, 7 or 7:30. I'll send a message out. We'll have a quick straw poll, which time suits. Because getting up at 6:30 in the morning, as I found out this morning, was hard work. Now, we still have to get up early on a Monday, but because it's the first day of the week, staying up a tiny bit late on a Sunday sort of doesn't feel quite as bad. At least I hope not.
Okay, well, in that case, Tony, before we go, just bang the drum. Because that will be the day after the next Granby Street Market.
Oh, so Granby Street Market is the first Saturday of the month. Granby Street in Liverpool.
Be there.
It's a big...
Please reboot the advert for the family day at the Irish Centre on West Derby Road.
Yeah, well, Paul, put your stuff up on Facebook and tag me, and then I can share it.
Yeah.
And then at least a few more people get to see it. And eventually, people do eventually see things and go, oh, I could be part of that. Anyway, guys, listen, we really must call ourselves quits because I'm slightly under orders to do these things according to time. Podcasts are coming. We will fill you in on that next time we talk.
No time for the poem. No time for the poem.
Go on, Brian. You can give us one.
Very quick. Very quick. It's only because you're talking about Liverpool. I live and love in Liverpool, and I may be quiet, but I ain't no fool. I love to rock, yeah, and I love to dance, and I want to buy me a house in France. They say Japanese girls are cool, but only Liverpool girls can rule. They'll take your money, and they'll win your heart. Just try to cross them, and they'll take you apart. We've got a city that rocks with a river that rolls. When the cruise ship docks, well, bless my soul. The Beatles stride on a pier head where Carla Lane liver birds have their bread. And when Jerry comes along, you'll never walk alone because this is Liverpool and it's my home.
Very good, Uncle Brian. Very good. Love it. Love it. Yes. Oh, yeah.
And
Now,
that's a song. That is actually a song.
I was going to say, I thought
but
that
it is a song.
added a cadence of a song to it.
It is, yeah, because you got a chorus in the middle. So
yeah,
I'll do that one day.
You're gonna have to get your harmonica out or whatever you play on and
no castanets though.
Castanets.
I'm not getting my castanets out for you and nobody.
You don't get your castanets out for anybody anymore.
No.
The weather has warmed up, so you'll be safe enough. Anyway, guys, listen, we must call a halt to everything. Thank you to one and all. Can we please raise our hands and wave and for Tim Johnson, our
hello, Tim.
Lovely main guest tonight.
Thanks very much, Tim. Thank you.
We can't wait to meet you on.
Get over to
Saturday.
Liverpool and come for a beer.
He's coming on Saturday. Tim's coming on Saturday. He's
Saturday.
Performing.
Oh, that's right.
He's on Saturday. So, folks, for those of you that can come Saturday, please do. Heather and Jason, you will see some live stream as long as the Wi-Fi works. But I'm going to video all of it, so you will get to see Jason and Tim and everyone else who's performing. We've got Alison Benson, who you may or may not have heard with the Liver Bird song. She's going to do a set. We've got a lovely girl called Daisy Gill. We've got some other great poets. Oh, there's a young lad coming to sing. He's only 16 and he's going to be singing live for us. So we're going to have a fabulous time. So it starts at 3, but the suggestion is get there 2:30, 3:15, get a good seat, talk to people so you know you've got friends to share time with, and we want these things to be regular quarterly things. So we're doing one in April, May, June, July. There'll be one in July or August, and then one round about November for Christmas period, and then same again next year. Yeah. Anyway, guys, listen, all wave. We must go. Love you all, and we'll see you all, if not Saturday.
Good night, guys.
Sunday the 8th.
See you next Monday.
Shush you.